Well, hello everybody. We're streaming live. Technical difficulties. Ginger's here in this on the set with me, or actually, I think Ginger's really driving her car.
I'm driving and it's dang. I'm gonna park soon, so don't worry. I don't want to break the law, but I
I'm
gotta go
not.
get my hair done.
I got you. And I wanted to show our book, and this is there on the screen and everything. Anyway, we're trying a new format for Pro Life Praise Variety Show. And so when COVID hit, we started Pro Life Praise Variety Show, and we ran it for 22, 23 weeks, I think. And so now we're trying a live format because we've got 28 days until the election. So that gives us about 3 weeks. And so Ginger and I are going to be coming back to you every week on Wednesday at 3:30. We're doing this today at 4 o'clock because I couldn't get the technology to agree with me. And so Rob is there in the studio. Rob, would you please bring up that picture of the meme that says 28 days? Yeah, I think you have to take all of us off and just show that picture. But it should be Ginger, Alveda, and Angela. We gotta wait. We're working out some technical difficulties, friend. Just hang with us. So anyway, Angela is supposed to be with us today, and she's having a technical day as well. So she will come in and pop in next week. Angela Stanton King, as you know, is my goddaughter, and she's running for Congress. And so we do want you to hear from Angela. Today, I'm going to have Ginger talk to you first. And this is Pro Life Praise Variety Show. And we will still have a little music. We'll have Pray for America come up and some other things in a few minutes. But with the elections going on, one of the hottest topics happens to be racism and racial reconciliation. What does that look like and what does that mean? I've been chatting about the book over the last few weeks, but you've never heard directly from Ginger Howard. So Ginger, talk to us about our book, The Dream That You Had. So Martin Luther King Jr. is not the only one that had a dream, right? Ginger Howard
That's
had a
true.
dream. So we'll
Ginger
start
Howard had a
from
dream
there.
too.
All right, so start from the dream, Ginger, and how did we write this book?
Well, Alveda, it's wonderful to be with you this afternoon. And this book came about
Here we
some
go again.
some actual things that happened to you and I when we were invited to be on a panel about racial reconciliation at Ebenezer Baptist Church with the Beloved Community Talks on how women could bring racial reconciliation. And you and I were about the only conservatives on the panel. So there were some harsh words and some things that happened that really started me thinking that we really needed to have this conversation. And you and I talked about it, and we'd see each other and we'd say that. And then it actually, after the January event at Martin Luther King's anniversary service at Ebenezer Baptist Church, another incident happened. And I literally had a dream that you and I wrote a book on racial reconciliation. I called you and told you about it. And within a few hours, God gave you the name of the book and the first 8 chapters, the subtitles for the first 8 chapters. So that's how it all started. And now that dream has become a reality. It actually came out on August the 28th, 2020, which was the 57th anniversary of your uncle Martin Luther King's dream speech on the Mall in Washington. So God has a sense of humor.
God does. And first now, Ginger, you are not a racist, and I am not a racist. Now,
Correct.
our definition of racist, you have to think about this because maybe you never, viewers, you maybe never thought of this way. We are not separate races. We are one human race. We are not colorblind. We can see each other because today Ginger and I are both wearing red. And our hair, you can see this streak of gray through mine. That's intentional. So we can see the colors. Now, if you can see all that, and then all of a sudden you can't see Ginger's skin or my skin. You have no idea what color our skin is. So that's us thinking we're separate races. And that's where racism comes in, where you divide because of skin
Right.
color. So Ginger is not a racist, and I am not a racist. President Trump, the reason I knew he wasn't a racist, he was candidate Trump. And he said, we all bleed the same. I said, whoa, he gets it. He's not racist. He sees us as human beings. President Trump even works for the dignity of all Americans, not because of skin color, but because we're Americans, you see. Ginger, I never asked you this about President Trump. And I wanted to ask you, do you think President Trump's a racist?
Absolutely, I don't think he's a racist. In fact, actions speak louder than words. And as you know, you can name everything he's done, but for the Black community in the last almost 4 years, he has done more than any other president before him. So, how can a racist do all those things for a community that he doesn't like? Then there's no way. He loves you all, and he loves all of us because we're one race.
We're one human race. And so once we begin to do that, and interestingly enough, when Ginger had the dream and had the discussion, and she called me and she said, we need to do a book. And I said, okay, I was already working on a Trump book. It was going to be the @real Donald Trump or something like that. And so I was already working on it, and I put it aside because I knew how important this racial reconciliation piece was. And then not long ago, God said, man told you no on the Trump book. I didn't tell you no. So I said, oh my goodness. And then I said, how are we going to do 2 books? And God kind of laughed about it because publishing companies do a lot of books at one time. So there was a possibility of us coming. Rob, can you put both of those books on the screen? Take me and Ginger down for a second and just put the 2 books up. So Why Trump and We're Not Colorblind. They look like 2 different books, but they were birthed and born about the same time, ended up with similar color schemes even. And so I just wanted to explain that because everybody says, well, Alveda, we just thought you just did a book. And yes, we did. Ginger and I did. And now we have this one. So don't let it confuse you. I tell you what, just go get both books. How about that? All right, take it down. Now, Ginger.
Absolutely, get both books.
Yes. I know you've got to go. And so I'm going to take the show from here and run on with it.
I'm okay. I've got a few. Okay. That's wonderful. And I've so enjoyed being with you, Alveda, and I will see you a little later. And God bless you all. And remember, we're not colorblind. Get the book because it's a wonderful conversation to have with your friends, your coworkers, your family, just to help everybody realize Acts 17:26 says, from one man, God made every
all
person.
People. And it's a good stocking stuffer, too. So you want to get it. All right.
That's right. It's got Christmas colors. Okay, right. Love you, Alveda. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Now, friends, I'm going to stay because next week the show will come on at 3:30 in its regular slot, Pro-Life Praise Variety Show. But we had a couple of videos I wanted to show. Rob, can we see that 1-minute video with Ginger and Alveda first? I'm evangelist Alveda King.
And I'm Ginger Howard.
You can even keep that too, if you can pull it. You can pull it.
I love it.
So there it is.
And we're not colorblind.
We're not colorblind. So Ginger and I are having a real good time with that theme, We're Not Colorblind. And we can laugh about it and play, but it's very serious too because people fight over skin color. And that's where you see all these riots and racial things and people killing each other because of the color of their skin. I lived in a house in 1963 with my parents. It is now number 32 of the historic sites on the African American Civil Rights Network. And it's the home of A.D. King, my dad, the church parsonage. He and my mother and all of us as children were living there in the home, and it was bombed in 1963 because of skin color racism. So skin color racism is really, really bad. Now, Rob, can we play the other video, Still Not Racist?
Donald Trump embraced the underserved community.
Now, thank you. And I'm seeing a lot of comments. We love you, Alveda. A lot of agreement that skin color does not denote our race. Actually, it denotes ethnicity. Does anybody have any questions? I can take a few questions. This is the first time I've taken the show live, so it's not as focused as I want it to be, because I tend to think out the show, think out the themes, have the guests and all of that. So it'll get better in the next couple of weeks because we're going to go live. It won't be in the original format of Pro-Life Praise. So I'll have to get used to taking it off the cuff and taking it live. Does anybody, how do we share that video? Rob, can they hear you? Can you talk into that? How can they share? How can they get these two videos that they've just seen? What I can do, Rob, is post them at civilrightsfortheunborn.org under videos. I think that's what we can do. We can actually have them there, and we can have them at some of our other sites as well. We're Not Colorblind book. So the notcolorblindbook.com, you can find out about that. whytrumpbook.com, civilrightsfortheunborn.org, and we have a whole video page and section. We can definitely put those there. There's also stillnotracist.com if you want to see that Still Not Racist video. So there are actually web pages for all of those as well. Any more questions? I'm taking questions now. Janet is good at this. Ask Janet. And she says, you can ask me anything. I'm getting used to that format. This gives me hope, and I had lost mine. Hope still rises. We have faith, hope, and love. That's the theme of my new book, Why Trump is a Journey of Faith, Hope, and Love. And so we see hope when we hear that some of our loved ones perhaps got COVID, and yet they didn't die, they were healed. That gives us hope. We have hope when we see that God is with us and that the environment is coming back. The communities are pulling together and helping each other. Now, one challenge that we have now, what advice would I give President Trump? I'll tell you that one in a minute. But one thing that is happening, we don't hear enough of the good reports and the good news. We don't hear about how the people are coming together to help each other, to rebuild when the rioters tear down their communities and the various opportunities. So one thing, I don't know, I might come to Idaho if God sends me. And so the other question that was just asked, am I coming to Texas soon? You can find that out at priestforlife.org and click my picture on the front page and look at the schedules. What would I say to President Trump right now? And we're saying it anyway because we do a lot of prayer calls. I tweet him and he tweets me back too sometimes. So I would say, President Trump, please continue to be encouraged, you and your beautiful wife and your family. I'm very sorry that you were struck by COVID. I'm very glad that you're a fighter and that you're fighting back. So I would say continue to fight the good fight of faith, President Trump. That's exactly what I would advise President Trump to do. And as a prayer partner to the Trump administration, we are praying. A shift happening in the Black community, absolutely, an awakening more with our African-American men than our women, which is marvelous. We're so glad to see that. And I don't know if I'm coming to Texas soon, Idaho. I kind of just go where the Lord sends me. Sometimes people invite me to come, and you can do that at priestforlife.org as well. Click on my picture and see my schedule and find out how to invite me. The Black Lives Matter organization is run by Marxists. It's communist in nature. It is teaching people to divide and fight because of skin color. That's the Black Lives Matter organization. So when you see a lot of things happening in our community and you want to help the African American community and you send money to Black Lives Matter organization, you're not helping America, you're not helping our communities, you're not helping at all because they are funded by Marxists. And they say that they hate much about America, even down to the family, the traditional family that has a mom and a dad, or dad and mom and children coming up together. They say, oh no, we need to get rid of that. And so they are Marxist. So what you want to do is to contribute to those organizations that are bringing life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness from the womb to the tomb. Did I just do an ad for Crease of a Life? Absolutely, I just did. But there are many of us who are promoting life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Wow. Your grandmother's name was Alveda. Your name was Ginger. Isn't that amazing? And your voice is powerful. Thank you. I use this voice because God gave it to me. Any more questions? I'm going to stay on just a few more minutes. I've got a song I'm going to play in a little while, Pray for America. You probably have seen that. We end the show with it, and it plays it with a video. Do you feel the Black Americans are waking up? Do you think they get out and vote? BLM funding by Obama and George Soros. That's really true. George Soros was funding that Black Lives Matter organization. But the the African American community is waking up. We are. So it's amazing that we are. How will we educate our folks of this fact when protesters feel they are being woke? We have to do what we can do on social media, in our communities, or through emails, and any way that we can get our message out. So I have just been to Montgomery a couple of times. I do go to Montgomery. So we have to get the message out, the word out. And sometimes Facebook, Twitter, IG, and all those things might block us a little bit, but don't be discouraged. Don't give up. Continue to spread good news. That's what's so important. What was that one? Am I Catholic? And so have I always been. I'm a non-denominational Christian. I was born into the Baptist church. And in the words of my grandfather, when he voted for President John Kennedy, who was a Catholic, he said, I don't care if he's a Catholic, I'm voting for him. You know, he did. And Granddaddy was a Republican, actually. And he voted for a Democrat Catholic. Now here I am today, used to be a Democrat. Now I'm a Frederick Douglass Republican supporting a Republican president. So that should tell us one thing, that Bishop Larry Gators, I don't know. But what we should really know is to vote because of what is necessary for our times. Right now, Democratic Party is killing babies. That's what they do. They admit it, they say it. That's not going to help America. That's not going to help our communities or our families. So we need to vote for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, regardless of our church denomination, regardless of our political party, regardless of our skin color. We just need to vote for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The way to do that today, of course, is to vote for the conservative candidates, who mostly are in the Republican Party. Now, there are some conservative Democrats, few and far between, but they punish them so much that they're not as effective. So we pray for them, but go ahead and vote for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And don't stay at home and not vote. That's not going to help, because if you don't vote, you don't count. If you're not going to vote, then don't have anything to say about it. Right. It is necessary for our times. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Wow. Good questions. My grandma's dad was African-American and married an Italian lady. He was from Chicago. Roger Hobbs. All right, that's good. Joyful, my middle name is Celeste, but I am joyful. I'm not always happy, but I have great joy because that comes from the Lord, and I have great peace. Jesus said the world didn't give me that. Jesus did. Veterans, hi. Thank you. Wow. Why do leftists keep saying Trump is a racist when the evidence is overwhelmingly otherwise? If you say things long enough, first you'll believe it, and then other people will, and they learn that lesson, so they keep saying it. Even when they know it's not true, he's still not racist. Do me a favor, Rob. Can we play Still Not Racist one more time? That little clip, Still Not Racist.
Donald Trump embraced the underserved community.
Stillnotracist.com. That's where you can find that. And God bless you too, Tammy. Thank you. That's one thing. Prayer is so important. We have to pray together. When we pray together, we unite. That's one thing I wanted to say about wearing masks too. I wear masks sometimes. There was a movie The Man in the Iron Mask, and you look it up. I don't have time to tell you about the whole movie, but twin brothers, one was jealous, put his brother in an iron mask to try to keep him from ever succeeding and getting the throne and all that. So the brother who had been oppressed like that, when they got him and tried to put him back in the mask for a moment, he says, I wear the mask. The mask does not wear me. And that's the same thing here. I have worn masks sometimes on the platform with my microphone and talk with the mask right on my face, you see. So the reason I don't argue with people about wearing masks, some wear it and some don't. And I just say, well, if it's going to unify us, if your comfort level puts you in a mask, I can wear a mask. Now, I've been places where nobody had on the mask but me. And then my family, my children and everybody, adult children and the little grandchildren and everybody, wear a mask. And they feel comfortable when I wear the mask. So I don't get into arguments about masks. How should we deal with family and friends who vote for the side we don't agree with? Good question. And especially at holidays, and I have a running joke now, because, I have a cookbook, Gigi's Home for the Holidays. And I talk about how you cook and get along with your family and celebrate the holidays. And I said, we don't rip the turkey leg off and start beating each other with it. So we have 6 steps of nonviolent conflict reconciliation, and there are 6 principles of nonviolence. And the 6 steps, they're over at civilrightsfortheunborn.org too, probably under MLK or something on the front page, and you click on the box and find the steps. But there are 6 steps. So when you disagree with somebody, you first gather your information and let it be neutral information, just true. And so when I begin to say, if I tell you that in 1994, Joe Biden was responsible for a crime bill that locked up unjustly many, many, many Black people, that happens to be true. And he said a lot of other things. That's true. But I'm not hating Joe or cursing him out or anything. I'm just telling you he did that. That's a fact. And then if I say to you, President Donald John Trump is the most pro-life president ever, I need to be able to and ready to prove that with the Mexico City policy, where he says we're not going to send money overseas to abort babies, where he says we need to come up with some alternative programs so women don't have to abort their babies in order to eat or go to school or have jobs. And he's doing all of that. So you get your facts, but you line them up and let them be true. After that, you begin to do what I'm doing. I'm just giving you the facts. I'm not telling you who to vote for or anything. I'm just giving you the facts. So gather your evidence, educate your population, your public. Then number 3, this is the hardest one, examine your own heart. Am I hating anybody? Am I being hateful? Am I mad? Or am I just after the truth? Once you examine yourself and your motives and your heart, then you're ready to do step 4, which is called negotiation. You go to the table and you begin to try to talk. If that doesn't work, then you have direct action. That's step 5, but it is nonviolent action, where you might protest peacefully or have a prayer movement or that kind of thing. Then you come back to the table at step 6 and you talk, and there should be some reconciliation. Now, I do that. We follow those steps in my family all the time, and we listen to each other. So whether we can actually agree, somebody told me the other day, and she calls me Miss King, I'm Evangelist King. Miss King, even when I don't agree with you, because I don't always, but everything you say it with so much love, I have to listen. So trying not to be mad. And I said today, Lord, I'm just not going to be mad with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I'm just not going to be angry with them. However, I am going to pray that they don't take that agenda and hurt America and the babies and the children. So there's a difference in disagreeing with your family and hating and fighting. My daughter called me this morning because my goddaughter, Angela Stanton King, is running for Congress. And her opposition refuses to debate her. And I think that's terrible. She should debate her. So I put up a little snippy Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. They're still up. And one of my daughters said, that's not even your character, your personality. Why are you being mean? And so I put up a second. I said, please excuse my manners. We don't have to go negative. Wouldn't you like to hear what both candidates have to say? Demand a debate. So it's not always what you say. It's how you say it. And try to line up. If your real goal is to resolve something, then that's the way maybe it needs to be told. Yeah. I think in a minute, because we are going to play Pray for America, I could take a couple of more questions. Yes, Angela, StantonKing.com. It's StantonKing.com, and she is running as a Republican. She absolutely is. And no, I'm not a Catholic. I'm a non-denominational Christian. I was born into a Baptist church kind of a situation. I left because I wanted to know how to lay hands on the sick and see them recover. I wanted to speak in other tongues and interpret them. There were things that were not going on in our Baptist church at that time. And so I've been a non-denominational Christian ever since. I joined Believers Bible Christian Church in Atlanta, Georgia in 1987. And I've been there ever since. There's this post today that says Trump is using Christians. What do you have to say about that? I have not seen the article. President Trump is not using Christians. If you really go back and look at what happened when he was candidate Trump, he was asking the Christians, he was like, why don't you do something and say something? Why are you letting them tell you you can't say Merry Christmas? Why are you letting them tell you if you read the Bible in church and say certain things are sin, they're going to lock up your church? Why are you doing that? And he says, I'll help you. So he did a religious freedom executive order, set the churches free. I have not seen Michelle Obama's video. I keep hearing about it. Maybe I will go and listen to it. But there we are, dividing people because of skin color and racism. You've been doing it too long and it just doesn't work. So I wish somebody would remind Mrs. Obama that stirring up racial anger and things like that doesn't solve it. We must learn to live together as brothers. Martin Luther King Jr. said that, and I'll add as sisters, or perish together as fools. We can do it. I think I'm going to break away now and play Pray for America and the credits, and we'll get better at this live format. Come back next week at 3:30. Love you so much. Next Wednesday. God bless you. Rob, pray.